Today I'm here to explain the Cassandra. You guys know about the Cassandra is a NoSQL database, and before going to Cassandra, I just want to differentiate the differences between the relational databases and NoSQL databases. These NoSQLs are open, and this is a denormalized format. That means there is no multiple tables and no need to join the tables. And if you go to the RDBMS, there is a normalized format. I mean, have to create multiple tables and one, like example, in customer table and order table and something another tables are there. So there we have a primary key and foreign key relationships we have to maintain in RDBMS. But here no need to join the tables actually. All entities we can create in one table only. So that is the advantage of here. And mainly NoSQLs are used in analytical purpose. If you want to have a huge amount of data, we need to analytics on the data. We can use the NoSQLs, and it can deal with unstructured data as well and structured data. But RDBMS can deals with structured data only. And here NoSQLs, it's very high performance when compared with RDBMS and with less functionality only. But when you compare with the RDBMS, it's less performance with high functionality. And here in NoSQL, we have no fixed schema. But here in RDBMS, it is a fixed schema. So these are some differences between NoSQL and RDBMS. And these NoSQLs classified into four types. You guys have known about these things, I guess. I mean, this document-oriented like MongoDB and CouchDB, and key value pair, Redis and Rake. Columnar database is HBase, which is Hadoop related, and Cassandra. These are columnar databases. And graph-oriented databases also there. These are Giraffe and Neo4j. These four, they are classified into four types, these NoSQLs. And now coming to Cassandra. Cassandra is a Apache open source column-oriented NoSQL database developed by Facebook to power their index search feature. I mean, they're trying to improve their index search feature. So that's what they have taken Amazon Dynamo and Google Bigtable. By using those two databases, they modified this Cassandra. I mean, they introduced this Cassandra, and it follows peer-to-peer architecture. That means there is no master and slave architecture. And the peer-to-peer architecture, the nodes communicate with the gossip protocol. I mean, by using this gossip protocol only, the nodes internally communicate. And this is the ring topology, the peer-to-peer architecture. So obviously there is no master and slave architecture, so no single point failure there. And I said this is also natively doesn't support the joins as well. And it follows availability and partition tolerance from CAP theorem. You guys know about the CAP theorem? It's a CAP theorem. Like there we have three properties: consistency and availability and partition tolerance. And pick any two. I mean, any database, it can follow only those two properties only on these three properties. Like Cassandra, it can follow availability and partition tolerance only. So can anybody say that consistency means what, and availability and partition tolerance?
Consistency is the data availability. Like if you have a file in a particular node or something, if that node goes down, then they won't be available of that file. It should not happen.
A block which has been updated by node 1 has to be read by node 2. If the updated block is not marked and available on node 2, it's called as inconsistent.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean,
I think
all clients always have the same view. I mean, when you perform insert operation, the data inserted into one. Let us assume we have a 4-node cluster. Once we insert any data into the nodes, it will first copy into node 1, and there is a time being by replicate the copy into another nodes. So while that process, if we perform any query, if we fire a query, it has to be maintained all data copied into those all nodes, and it will be return the query to that. So data should be consistency for all the time. It is like that. So availability in the sense always available the data. There is no consistency check. This Cassandra follows availability and partition tolerance. Partition tolerance in the sense the data distributed across the multiple nodes. I mean data distributed. That is the partition tolerance. Every NoSQL database follows a partition tolerance, and any one of these two, either consistency or availability. So Cassandra follows availability. And I can give you example like, for example, if you go to make my trip or something, any flight booking sites. If you go to there and first you choose the source and destination, once you see the fare, it will be like up and goes down. It will be something up and something goes down. But when you confirm the ticket, there is a consistency levels are there. So in Cassandra, some consistency levels I'll show you. Yeah, here Cassandra also we can we have some tunable consistency here. Like if we set as a consistency level as all, that means all nodes can have the copies. Then only it can give the acknowledgement that copy is completed. Then it can return the query. Return the result. If you set as a all, or you can set as a quorum and 1, 2, 3. One in the sense one node it is copied, then it will give the acknowledgement. Then it can return the query. But it is a quorum. It follows one formula. Like the formula is
quorum. General people can understand what is the meaning of quorum.
Quorum.
More than 50% of the nodes. So even 50.5 or 51, right? We don't consider point based on that. For example, if you have a 4 node, so say quorum means that more than 50% of the nodes. So more than 50% of the node means 3 nodes. So when any write operations happens, on that time it has to write into more than 50% of the node. Means that it has to write into 3 nodes. When you are reading also, on that time, if the data is not consistent, right? When you write it, for example, you have a city column by city. So for that, you update the name of the city as a Bangalore first, and later you update the same column with the Bombay, and the third the same column again with Bangalore. So now in this open source, this Cassandra, right? So at any point in time, so it maintains the 3 copies of the data. Whereas a relational database, if you insert, you commit or roll back things, here we don't have that kind of a concept. The moment you write anything, it writes one more copy, it appends. Okay. When you are retrieving the data, on that time you need to mention that what level of consistency you want to maintain for the cluster level. Okay. So if you specify that I want a consistency level quorum or all or 1, right? So if you specify 1 on that point in time, though there are 3 copies, I said, right? First you updated as Bangalore. If you say one another on Mumbai, another again, you update back the city column to Bangalore. So we have a 3 copy of the data. But when you are retrieving the data, we should always set the latest, right? Whatever. So on that time, so it goes for that CL consistency level. If you have specified only 1, it goes and fetches data from any of the nearby nodes. So there is no guarantee that it will get the latest data or consistent data. So that is the one. If you specify all, on that time it looks for all the nodes, it checks for all the nodes in the cluster. So again, cross verify. And from that, it fetches you and gives you back whatever the latest data, means recent data. If it is quorum, this is a quorum, general quorum, people can understand. It looks for 50% of the node. Out of those 50% of the node, whichever the node, among those 50% of the node, which one is having the latest copy, it gives that as a latest data.
Yeah, like that we can set as a consistency level here in Cassandra, write operation as well as the read operation also. You can refer this one if you want to see that. And
there are little bit of performance problems. It's not like RDBMS problem. If you set consistency to all on the time it asks if you have a cluster. If you look at it, our Facebook, right? So you guys ever dreamt of how many nodes maybe there in our Facebook? They use. They have 2,400 nodes in a cluster. Whatever Facebook you use, they say one cluster. Facebook, they have one cluster. Again, they have a different data center. So they have 2,400 plus nodes that is serving one application.
Data should be also in a petabytes and something range. So when coming to the data model of Cassandra, it is like everything with key space only. Here the key space is like in RDBMS we like deep database. So in Cassandra first we have to create a key space. In key space we mentioned that column families. We can create column families. Column family is nothing but a table. So the column family contains the column values like a name value. These are the fields. So the Cassandra data model should be like this.
You can go, could you please go back to that camp theorem?
Yeah.
Like here, right, guy who wants to have what kind of open source database, right, they can decide if they are really looking for consistency as well as availability, then they go for this. If you look at C side, there are databases, for example, MongoDB, they can go for. If they want availability and partitioning, they want more distribution and more availability, then they go for like Cassandra, SimpleDB, Couch, Rack. So if you want to decide, you have decided to go for open source database again, based upon your business cases, you can decide what kind of a NoSQL I may need to choose, which suits best my business.
Yeah, for that our data model also we can check that. And this Cassandra system architecture is like it follows a partitioning, and how the data is partitioned across nodes, I'll tell you later. And it follows the replication also same, and nodes is a distributed system, so data replicated definitely. And cluster membership, how the nodes are added or deleted from the cluster, that I'll tell you later by using Op Center. So, and next when you install a cluster, install Cassandra.
So just before going to the next slide, can you go back?
Presentation. Yeah.
Yeah, go back. You told it doesn't follow master-slave architecture. It follows some
peer-to-peer architecture.
Peer-to-peer in the sense, like for example, we have I said that Facebook, right? They have 2,400 nodes as a cluster. On that time, consider RDBMS databases, Oracle or anything, like for example, Oracle Rack. So we have a one database, multiple instances. For any operation has to happen, it has to get it from the master. Right? Or you look at your MySQL or Postgres. So we have a master slave kind of things. Okay. Even for Oracle itself, any operations happen, though we have a rack with multiple nodes. Ultimately, it has one database. It has to get. It has to get synced with that system. Here, if you have multiple nodes in a cluster, so each and every node behaves like a server. They don't need to coordinate anything like they exchange information, but it's not.
That is they have followed the gossip protocol.
Yes.
There is a protocol
so
designed for
each and every server behaves
communication.
like a different entity. So when a read or write operation happening on that Oracle database, right, it has to go to the dictionary, it has to get who is holding this blog, this and that, right? It has to get that information from the master node, right? Here it doesn't need to have that kind of a thing. Don't want to read anything. User can go to any node. That node will serve you. It doesn't need to cross verify this and that like our traditional RDBMS databases.
Is that you done or something else?
Yeah, definitely. And if you have some 20 nodes in a cluster, so all 20 nodes are connected to each other?
Yeah, connected to each other. It's a ring topology. And we have to specify the seed nodes are there. I have to explain later actually. Seed node is there. That seed node knows the topology. In which data node has a data exists or not. Which is near to the node. Those information they can get from the seed nodes only. By using the seed nodes, they can communicate and internally the gossip protocol is working there.
So if user want to, for example, if I log into Cassandra, means how I will get to know I'm looking into this node?
You don't need to worry about. You need to connect to that cluster, whatever, right? You don't need to specify about which node your query has to do. So Cassandra decides that. Okay. So in a ring, right, in the cluster, it's a kind of a ring. Inside the ring, we'll have small. I can write down. Do you have marks? So consider now only four node cluster. So node 1, like N2, N3, N4. Means node 1, node 2, node 3, node 4. As a end user, you don't need to specify any node name to which node it has to connect. So you connect to the cluster. So the moment the connection comes up, for example, your connection, right, on that time, it may have reached to this location. On that time, this cluster, right, it will give the connection to either to this node or this node. Whenever connection request comes to the ring, it connects to any of the adjacent nearby nodes. Not necessarily go to this one or this one. It's based upon internal mechanism based upon that networking this thing. It is that it goes. So again, in our traditional database, like why these open source database came into the picture in the market is in the traditional database, for example, Oracle database, right? I have a database. Today it is serving your purpose, okay? Tomorrow, consider we have a 100 transactions happening in the database. You have a CPU or memory of a certain exact quantity. So tomorrow you want to have more than another 1,000 transactions you want to have. You want a server to support another 1,000 plus transactions. That time you add a CPU to this server, memory to this server, or you may go for one more server with high-end capacity, like any super cluster or whatever, right? And that time you keep on increasing the system resources, okay? It grows vertically. At some point, though we have money to invest, you are ready to invest on hardware, it may not give the performance what you are looking at. At some point, it gets to the saturation level. Okay, so whereas in these things, in open source databases, it is not something like that. So you have two servers. These two servers are supporting you 500 transactions as of today. So you want your business wants to have a few more transactions on that time, right? You add two more nodes. So earlier these two nodes were supporting 500 transactions or whatever. So if you add two more nodes server, then it will support another 500 plus. This is guaranteed. Whereas in that traditional RDB method, you increase to a certain limit, it gives you a performance. Okay, you will have more performance. Whereas here, you will get by default. So whereas it goes to a certain level, after that you cannot. In Oracle server or any RDB service, increase, tune the query. You can tune it to a certain level, but you cannot tune it behind certain level. You cannot improve the performance of the query behind a certain level. So here, 500 transaction, 1,000, you add two more. So you can increase the capacity, you can expand vertically. So you expand horizontally. Here you are expanding vertically only one server, increasing the server capacity, memory.
It is a horizontal calculus, so it can.
Actually, I can say Oracle cluster. So I can also say Oracle cluster also. Yes, I was in this. So I can also increase horizontal level. But thing is, the scalability is there. Scalability is there, but the performance, as soon as scalability is different and the performance is different.
Oracle is not for only for a performance.
No, if I add even 100 nodes to a cluster, it doesn't mean that. This is license. But every server has to license by Oracle. Here I think we just add nodes. Not only license. Like even if you add the cluster node in Oracle on a parallel or a vertical line, it doesn't mean that it's going to increase your performance by 2 times or 3 times or 4 times. It doesn't give that performance booster. So add more cluster nodes or.
So in the rack we are adding node. First thing we are getting is, if you look at the rack, right, we get availability, performance, load balancing only. So if you keep on adding the more number, we have availability. That is the one thing that is guaranteed.
Not guaranteed.
The performance is not guaranteed.
Why the performance is not there? Can we say like the data is not distributed there?
No, data is distributed, but the block transfer between the node will take more time.
So that is what master to master. Here there is no master to master. It is something like.
So here we can have a performance while adding the nodes also.
Yeah. You cannot do load balancing, but I'm getting Cassandra. That's what I'm saying.
Cassandra, no question of load balancing. So whenever the user connection comes, right, first time it goes to the one node. So another time another request comes, it can go to the another node. So when like that, by default it is load balance automatically. Connection.
Why can't we achieve in Oracle SQL?
Yes, there we need to go for any third party like SLB or whatever. Okay. So we need to configure. Here no need first kind of thing. But if you want to have a more load balancing, that you are selling rate, partitioning, data setting. So if you set those parameters, automatically take care of.
Yeah, when coming to the installation of Apache Cassandra, it is an open source project. So when you go to Apache here, we have two types of Cassandra installations are there: Community Edition and Enterprise Edition. Enterprise Edition comes with the support and training facilities and something as there. But we have that Windows-based Community Edition only. So that you can take from here once you go to Cassandra.
But if you look at it, people, right, it is a marketing games when they say that it's open source.
Here,
Not everything is, it is open source, yes, we use it. But in the big companies, right, when they implement this kind of a thing, they want some kind of a guaranteed support. from
DataStax
the
is
company.
support for the Cassandra.
DataStax is the company who gives the enterprise the support. The way we have Oracle support, right, like that, they support us.
But we have that Windows-based community edition only. Once you click here, you got the exe file, and you can double click and you can install that. That's the easy thing. And once you install, you got the folder like this in program files, DataStax community. This is the folder structure you got once you install. And once you install that thing, you have three services: DataStax Cassandra community. This is the main service, and Ops Center service. These three should be running always once you install the Cassandra. And next you got this folder, and when you go to Apache Cassandra, here you have a bin. In this, all Cassandra shell commands and SQLSH commands. SQLSH in the sense, this is a UL like command prompt to write a queries and fire a queries. Once you install, it will automatically install in your machine. It is connected to your test cluster. It is a single node cluster. It's a cluster name, test cluster. We can here create key space and tables. I'll tell you later. So here all of the, node tool and Cassandra related SQL SH commands are existed in this folder. And next, this is the main conf folder. Here cassandra.yaml. This is the configuration file for Cassandra. Once you open this, here we can mention the cluster name. By default, it is a test cluster, but we can change here whatever name we want. And we have to follow some rules for that. This is all commented code. We can read and change the cluster name, and some configurations are done here, like RPC address, remote processor call. This is RPC port and RPC address. Yeah, it is a local host, RPC address. Whenever client wants to request that thing, it can listen by using this local host port number and something like another local listening address. Same like listen address. Listen address only.
Just for port.
Listen underscore.
Is it?
LASTEN.
Listen underscore. Yeah, this one. Listen address also we can configure here. That is localhost. If you have multi-node cluster, you have a VMs, then you have to specify that VM name like that. So you have to configure all these things in this Cassandra YAML file. And here we can create a folder. If you see the folder here, Apache Cassandra, here you have a data folder is there. Here commit log and data is there. Commit log in the sense, once in Cassandra, once you perform a write operation, the write first copied into this commit log. It's a physical structure, and this is only append only. The you insert a writes, those writes have append only, and there is no check the data is duplicated or not. So that's why it is too fast to write the data, and it doesn't allow. It doesn't know anything about. It's just append log only. And once the commit log is completed, then it will copy the same data into in-memory structure is there as a table, sort of string data. So in that SS table, it can copy the what the writes we have completed in commit log. Next, it can copy into the disk. It follows like that.
You said it's OLAP.
And let it close.
So we do not see maximum insert surface also.
Maximum?
Insert surface deletes. We don't see all this.
Yeah, we can see, but not like, it doesn't fully support the asset properties.
Right?
Yeah.
So the transactions are happening on the same record, we follow asset properties. At that moment, we maintain separate log files where it is not committed data.
No.
So finally, we move all the committed data to the database.
No, it's not like that. It's commit log, it's just a physical structure, it can store the data when you insert the data. Writes are there, no? So it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't see the data is duplicated or not. It is just append only. What the data you entered, that it can take the physical structure only.
And the thing is, for any rate operations in Cassandra, don't compare with Oracle or anything. For any rate operations happens, first it writes into commit log. So that is for any node crash happens, right? That is for recovery purpose. So any rate operation, it writes into the commit log. After that only, it writes into the memory. Memory is for our improving the performance, right?
That performance.
So the first operation happens, is it writes into the commit log. Commit logs are only small files, so these are not big files. Yes. Recommended to have a dedicated SSD separate disk. It's going to be a small area. So for any rate operations, so that is going to be written in the commit log. Each node will have a separate commit log area. So for any rate operations happen on any node, so it writes to that area. The moment it writes into the commit, it guarantees that rate operation happens. Though it is not written into a memcache area, so it guarantees that there is a data is written. So if a node crash happens, so there is already data written, so data is recoverable on that instance. After commit log written, then it goes to the memory.
That's SS table in memory.
So it goes to the memory. It will be there in the memory. So the moment it reaches certain threshold, we can set the threshold above on that memory can flush into a SS table. So started string table. It flushes, then it goes to the SST table. It's called that. That is the way we can consider the moment any checkpoint and that files are written, blocks are written to Oracle, right? Database, right? We can go into that way. So the moment you write up, for example, I was giving an example of city column. It was in Bangalore. First, you updated a city as Bangalore. Next, you made it as Mumbai. And then you made it as Delhi. And later, you made it as Bangalore itself. So on that time, in here, it's not something like commit or rollback. Each and every time, it will have different copy of data. Okay, right? First, the moment you write anything, it comes to commit log, then it goes to the memory. So the moment it gets presentation, it goes to the SST table. The SST table, it maintains all the versions. Like Bangalore, 4 or 5 copies out, it maintains that. Okay. So then we have something called a compaction. So since we have multiple copies, you wanted to, at any point in time, user reads, you want to read the latest copy of the data, right? So, but at some point, at the end of the day, or based upon the business demand, you want to flush that unwanted data, right? First, you did that kind of update. Later, you want to do. In half an hour transaction period, you did this kind of update. At the end, we came back to Bangalore itself. So you consider that is going to be the ultimate data you wanted to maintain. Okay. Then on that time, we have something called different in Oracle SQL Server, right? We have different scenarios, right? In Oracle, like we have maintenance job happens daily, like that. We have something called a compaction. What it does is, whatever this kind of data, right, which are there in that table, it does coalition of those things. Coalition in the sense, it tries to compare what is the latest data, what is not currently there, and that type flushes all those things. It maintains that one. You can say that we have a multiple access table. It does cleaning of data, so then it does coalition and maintains that one copy. So at any point in time in a day, so though your real data is considered say 1 MB, you may have a data of say maybe 10 MB. So that job you can schedule how often you wanted to schedule.
That is the thing. There is no relation.
Recovery of the data.
At any
Instead is gone down.
yeah, server. Then that time you will have that data.
So we use that commit log.
So to guarantee that whatever is right after it happens is right, first you just write into the commit log. That is the first operation happens. So on that instance, right, parallelly it can write into another memory area also, but it has to make sure first it has written into the commit log. That is the one. So in the memory, right? So when server goes down, memory gone. So when the server restarts, memory clean down, flush down.
So you mean to say that you said that in Oracle there's some checkpoints, or if the user manually commits, the data is moved to the database. Commit log is moved to the database. So what are the different checkpoints we have here?
Here I said right, there is a process called compaction. that we can define when you want that data compression to happen.
Snapshots
to happen, snapshot, right? You want to collate those things, or you have multiple Oracle, you can call it as 30 block data or 30 data, you want to clean it up, right? So we have something called compaction. So that runs. So that time it does that correlation. So at any point in time, though your real data is 8 MB or 2 GB, so during business day it may be a larger volume. When that collisions happen, okay, that compaction we call it as in Cassandra language, in normal language, we call it as collating the data. Okay, so on that time the data syncs up. During that, like in Oracle we call it as some maintenance job, right? In SQL Server we may call it as we call it as DBCC, whatever. That way, that kind of maintenance job runs. But if you look at Oracle for this kind of attack, it may consume more system resources. But here also it consumes, but during hour you can schedule it.
Okay, and next, this folder has logs also. Logs in the sense, I showed you there's 3 services that should be done always. So whenever you have a problem with this service, you got the logs here in this log folder. And if you open this one, you can get the information. I mean, what is the issue? The maybe memory is full or something. Any problems you can identify with this by using this log file. So this log folder is used for that. And next, some in Cassandra, we have some tools also here like stress tool and JSON to SS table to JSON. This kind of tools also there. I mean, whenever we have a data in JSON format, we want to store the data into Cassandra DB. By using these tools, we can do that. These tools also existed in this folder. And next, this is Windows based. So once you done, you got like this, these services and all. If you want to install the Linux based installation, you can get the tar file from here. And after that you need to install first you need to install Java and set the environment variable, and next install the Cassandra and set the environment variable. But if you go to the Windows installer, it can do for us. It can set that when it is done for us, the background process. Once you install, everything will be completed by that only. Environment variables, if you see, the Cassandra home variable already existed, and the Java path also. These two have by default done once you install the Cassandra in Windows. But if you install in that Linux based, you have to do manually that thing. So once you install, you got the CQLSS also. This is the editor to create key space and tables. So
the way we have an Oracle like SQL around, right? Like that we have one is SQL, that is Cassandra query language.
Cassandra query language.
It is same like SQL shell.
Here some default key spaces have already created. So describe key spaces. If you type this command, it shows the default key spaces. These have already created. Those I've shown you the folder. This is the data folder. Those are existed in the data folder. This is the data. These are the key spaces which I've created. I mean, these 4 are already created. I created test for myself. Next, if you want to create a key space, the key space syntax is like
means the moment you create any key space, so it creates a corresponding folder.
Like database.
In that, can you go to that YAML file?
YAML file. Yeah, that data you want me to check out.
Yes.
And we can configure the key spaces where we can restore and like.
In this configuration file, I was telling that the moment you write translate into commit log area. So there, using this configuration file, you will register that location of that file. So even for this data, the moment you write, insert anything into table, right, it creates a directory and puts into a certain location, right? We need to specify that location.
Yeah, this is the data file directory. We can configure this one also here. It is program files, data text, community, and data in data. The same like commit log also. We can say where we can store the commit logs also. those we can, everything we can done with the, I mean, the configurations we can done in YAML file only.
Yes, look at it. Yes, you only see drive. We have something called JBud, I guess. I just know about what it is.
Okay, whatever drive is there, point to that.
You don't want to keep everything in one location. Then we have something called JBud. Just bunch of disks. We have a JS disk. Okay. So for you, it looks like a one location, but internally it goes into different location.
And here, this seeds is also like, I mean, as I said, the nodes communicate with the gossip protocol, and the nodes topology have to know for this seed node only. I mean, if you have a 3-node cluster, you have to specify one node as a seed node. Then it knows the data is, I mean, where the data is resides and the remaining data nodes information, it can have the first time seed node if you mention. And we can mention seed nodes as a comma delimited. If you have 10-node cluster, you have to specify at least 3 nodes as a seed nodes. So you have to maintain like this, create like this, seed nodes. It is just a single node, so just a local host only.
Yeah, the seed node, right? If you have a 10 node or 20 node, even if you have a 20 node, it doesn't give you any error, but it's not necessary to give. So seed node in the sense like, other node, right? For example, I'm adding one more node on that time. When you add a new node or reboot the node, on that time it has to refer some node as a master node. It's not going to be a master node, but it has to take one node as a reference, right? On that time, you are mentioning that take this as a reference node to bring it up. When you are adding, right, it's a new node. On that time, it doesn't know anything about that cluster, or database, or space, or table, right? On that time, you are telling that take this as a reference. From that point of view, then you start adding it, start building it.
So can we add a node without stopping running continuously in the configuration?
Sorry?
So there should be some process which is continuously reading the configuration.
So these are different nodes. It's like we are adding one more like server, right? Consider we have a 4-node Cassandra running. We want to have the capacity increase. Consider we have 1,000 transactions happening. That's the process happening. We want to have another 2 more processes. Okay, node, we want to have increase the capacity of the processing. Then you will add one more node at that time. So it goes there. You need to specify the same name. His name. If you have one cluster with 10 node or 20 node, right? How it recognizes which node or this cluster I need to join. So we need to specify that cluster name, right? By default, it's just cluster. You are showing that. So you need to use that unique name, whatever it was given in our existing node. That is the one. Then you need to come here, a data directory, whatever, right? It can be different location for it, but it's best and recommend to give a same names and nomenclature, because one server data is something or another different. It should not be like that. It can be, but always to give the same directory structure, conventions, etc. Okay, so when you are adding a new node, right? Since you have mentioned the same cluster name, so at that time it comes and looks for any of the seed nodes. If you have given in the seeds, right, you may type on IP1, IP2, IP3. It is considered a node. And that time it may pick any of the node as a reference node. It can be a IP1 or IP2 or IP3. Pick any of those things for the reference. First it got which node I need to join, which cluster I need to join. Then it got that information in that cluster name. Okay. After that it comes and get a reference from which reference point I need to take. It goes there, then it gets that cluster information. After that, it gets key space information with database information. After that, its replication starts.
So C is the node which keeps all the information about all the nodes.
No, it's a reference node. It doesn't keep anything. When you are bootstrapping, we call it that. When you are adding a node, right, or removing the node, when you are adding a node, right, we can say that in Cassandra times this is that bootstrapping a node. Rather than saying adding a node, bootstrap the node. And that time just refer that node as a base.
My question is, okay. So let's say in terms of Oracle, because so in Oracle what happens? We configure the file. So this is what is the cluster, this is what is the nodes are available here. We configure that. And we bring the instance up.
Okay. I got you. Okay, first it gets the cluster name, then it gets that reference node. After this reference done, after that there is something called protocol called gossip. Then we start communicating with the other node. First it has to join the cluster first. After joining, it has to get all the node information, right? Handshake with the other node, right? On that time there is something called gossip protocol. That sends it makes a send, like getting ARPA's information, then we get to know about which node is having what kind of data. For example, we have a 4 node. Our 4 nodes are having let's say 15 GB of data. 15 into 4, 60 GB, right? The moment you add the data, you are still in partitioning. So in open database, by default, the data threading happens. The moment you add one more data, the data rebalancing means redistribution happens. So whatever data is there in the already existing node, right? That data start moving into this node also. Then by default, whatever the data across the node, right, it gets rebalanced, means it gets redistributed.
Even in that, when you're adding, you need to add it manually. Add the cluster wise, add node.sh, we have to learn. Add it to the cluster, and then create the instance manually. So here, automatically it takes care.
Adding a node is simple.
So if it's changing the configuration file that is reportedly taken by Cassandra, you are having 2, 3 or 3 nodes here.
Okay.
Cassandra is started. My cluster is on, running. I came here to the configuration file, I'm changing.
No. Each node will have a different configuration. It's not a unique. This is node wise.
This is node. This is particular for a single node.
Okay.
Everyone I'm asking.
Like no init parameter.
How does it go?
Like our init, each instance will have our own unique init parameter like that.
Actually, if you have a 4 VMs and every VM has a node, every node has this Cassandra.yaml file. So you can configure like this. For example, cluster name is a unique name. So here by default has cluster. Next time, if you want to create an Axion cluster, you have to specify the name for every node as an Axion cluster only. And next, you have to modify these RPC address and local listening address and everything. You have to do that. And another way also there, Cassandra has an op center. I shown you the services. 3 services are there. This is op center service is there. This is for UA. I mean GUI.
Op center is not mandatory. For example, in Oracle, right, you have OEM. Like it's not necessary to have OEM. So op center is like a monitoring purpose.
Monitoring purpose, like we can add nodes from here also. If you go to the cluster actions, add nodes options is there. So here you can specify the IP address and you can add the nodes here also. And you can see the nodes. This is my one node is there. This is my machine name, and this is a ring. It's shown like a ring. And if you go to the list also, it will give the data center 1. This is my machine name. The status is active. For example, if you stop the service, any one of the service here, for example, DataStax Cassandra service, if I stop here, you can observe here that it will be in a deactivate mode. So, yeah, it is unresponsive. So when you start again, then it will give the.
Generally, in the enterprise production versions, right, like the way we have OEM
Now you
running
can
under
see the
separate
activity.
node, like that, we have this op center running on different nodes for different networks. Okay, then though this guy work like independent, then if you go to that services, you will have an agent. So like the way we install OEM agent like that, and we install that agent and all the nodes.
So these 2 for that op center purpose, and this is the main service, community service. If this service is not running, you cannot connect to the Cassandra database. It has to be running all the time.
Is that our instance is down on cluster?
This is like a UA purpose.
If it is a one node, right, that is why. If you have a multiple node, right, if you create on one service, so we have this op center running a different node, it will show that only one node is down among that.
So if you add one more node, it will be one more register.
Sorry, we'll add it in another node, right? Consider we will have a 2 node, and if it is having op center running a different node, so on that time you will see that one node up and another node down. But since it is having everything in that one server, if you just take down the services of this Cassandra, the op center also goes down. Because it's hosting everything in a single.
So these are the default coming from when you install the Cassandra, these are the key spaces coming from the DataStax. And now if you want to create a key space, the syntax is like this: create key space and the key space name with replication. The class is a name. Like if you have a single node cluster, the class is a simple strategy. If you have multi-node cluster, that is a network topology, the class is. You have to specify here while creating key space. And the replication factor also. If you have a 4-node cluster, by default you can set it as a 3. And whatever number you want, you can create here. So I'm just trying to create a key space here. By using this.
Yeah. That is create this key space name, right? Replication strategy is a simple strategy. Simple strategy in the sense we have something called in Oracle, we have a standby or whatever, right? Here, there is no question of standby. We have something called multi-DC, multiple
Data centers.
So, for example, you have a 10 node. From 10 nodes, so you will have 5 node as a primary, correlating with Oracle. You will have another 5 node as a standby. But instead of primary and standby, they call it as these data centers. You can say data center 1 and data center 2. All data center is on the data center base. So on that time, if you have a replication factor of 3, right? If you have multiple data center, right? On that time, you need to specify a network topology.
Simple strategy. We have to specify here network topology.
Okay, network, right? But here, since it's having only one node, right? So again, it's not going to have a cluster with multiple data centers using this one. So I'm going with multiple data centers and you to get network topology. And also, as a best practice, Oracle, right? We say, or in Oracle, we say, right? You have multiple second profile, you have minimum 3 control file or whatever, right? Like that. So in the replication factor, by default, when we are doing any cluster setup, so in Cassandra, DSC says that have a minimum three as a replication factors. Means at any point in time, when any write operation happens, it writes into the three nodes. So,
three nodes in there, the same data center or different data center?
So that is what like you decide. We have one data center is right. So at any point in time, where you want to have a catastrophic balancing server, right? On that time, Oracle, right? We have a data guard, anything, right? Here we have one. The moment right happens to the primary data center or data center is, you want to have a same copy written to the west data center. So on that time, you will have data center. Okay, 2 data center. You will have a replication factor 4. On that time, you can specify that let's have 2 copy of write happen into your primary, that is, let 2 more write happen to the west. So by default, we have replicating the data. By default, we are having a DR solution or whatever, DR solution or HCI availability solution.
Just for our experiment. And we can
so here, configurations are also easy for Oracle, right, to build a DR, right? So it needs certain skill. Okay, guys, maybe a good in coding, but if they have to build a DR with a different demands, right? Then again, they need to have a certain skill set. Here, doesn't need anything. The same configuration, but when you are mentioning that, okay, when you are writing, write it here and write it there also. Again, within this itself, we have something another something called rack. Within the data center itself. Okay, so you can say that, okay, first, right, you have a 5 node, right, you can say within the data center, you can say rack 1, rack 2, rack 3. So in the rack, you can say 2 node as a 1 rack, another 2 set of node as a rack. Instead of telling that write that copy into the node 1, you can say that write into a rack 1. So on that time, since you are logically clubbing 2 node as a 1 rack, it can write it to any of the node. Advantage is to specify that write it to this node only. So if that node goes down, it cannot write. To say that write in this rack. So independent of the node, you can write it to any of the node.
So once you run this command, the key space is created with the name demo. You can see like describe key spaces. The demo is here. So once you create it, you have to use the demo. I mean, use the key space.
You go there and show that
Directory. Yeah, just use demo. Then it's go to the demo key space. This is the demo. I mean, this is a previously I created, but now I created latest. Yeah, the time is also there. So once you create a key space, then you can create a tables here, like a column families. In Cassandra, we call it tables as column families. So to create a table also, this is the syntax. Just like a create table, table name, and these are the fields and the data types. And we have to specify the primary key here while creating the table. I'll tell you how the data distributed by using this primary key. I just want to first create the table.
Like in Oracle, for learning purpose, we create a table, right? And then we may not create a primary key or a foreign key or whatever. For for
Yeah,
learning
yeah,
purpose.
it does not support RDBMS.
Like,
Hmm.
Usually you get
so we may not when we're learning purpose, right? So that time we do simple table without any constraint, right?
But we have to specify primary key only.
Normalization is not there. But you're using primary. That's what I'm
Only primary key only for that partition purpose. I mean, there is no another table with this primary key. We can use it as a foreign key in another table. That kind of situations we cannot follow here.
sorry.
So once you create a table, you have to see that describe demo that key space. It gives how it is created. I mean, key space format and the table as a temperature table. I created temperature table only. So here, this is unnecessary to name. This is by default they have come from here. So I created the weather station ID as a text, event time with the timestamp. Temperature I've taken as a text, and I've taken primary key as weather station ID and event time. So next, if you want to insert any data,
If possible, you explain that please, no? What you said is not required.
which one? Okay, okay.
Fields also is not required.
These
That
are
is the thing we actually got
no. While creating table, we don't need to specify all these things. But
Yeah,
once you describe that,
those are the default columns which are added by the data, right?
these are not the columns. This is
No,
something
these
like
are
some properties
Some
of
of the table properties that we
the properties of the table. These are not the columns.
For example, if you read Blueprint, right? For example, you have a data in Oracle, SQL Oracle. Though data is not there, you want to have some reference. I was mentioning that city name is different, right? City column is different way. Though it is plus to respect to data by but during next course of retrieval on that time, you want to have some reference to fetch it very quickly. Have a 10 copy. Okay, on that time, when the user request comes, we have to sequentially look for what is the latest data, what is the latest, which table is having latest data. So instead of doing that kind of a pinging on that instance, we have something called this one, Blueprinters, right? So it maintains that information, which one or which SSP having latest data. So that is the one we can specify, don't specify. Those are the certain things which those comes by default. When you want to cache it or not cache it, that is the one comment. It's not mandatory. If you want to give a comment, you can give the compaction, right? This is our selling. That's this one. Okay, compression. That is okay. Read repair chance. Read repair chance in the sense. So that is also comes into picture when you are like when you are consistent. You are maintaining consistency, right? So, for example, for the read also, consider I have a 10 email.
But you said in that triangle cap you don't consider.
Sorry.
Here
Here also we can maintain a certain consistency level. Consistency in the sense there are different, like I mentioned, you have a 10 copy of the same data. When you are reading, whether you want to read only the one copy of the data and take that as a original, or you want to read cross reference and take what is the latest one. So on that time, how many copy you want to check it, right?
The labels we can set it in Cassandra.
So that thing we have to pass those things, right? That is the one default time to life. Like when you have a column, right? When you are like especially in these kind of open source databases, we have a table with column, right? You have a table column, so you want that column data to be there for 1 month. After that, you don't want data. Then that time to live in the sense the data dissipates. It gets purged or disappears automatically. Like that.
So now how the data is distributed by using this primary key I am going to explain now. So this primary key we have to mention like here these two, weather station and date. So let's assume we have a 4-node cluster. So this is node 1, node 2, node 3, node 4. We have 4-node cluster. So by using this primary key, this weather station ID and date. For example, weather station ID is 111 and that date is date over here. Oh, okay, date is 23 or something. And next, same another record for 222 is another weather station ID and 25 is another date. So by using these two, there is a hash value generated. Hash code is generated. For example, this hash code is something like 43. I'm giving example like that. This is the hash value of this particular customer, this record. So next same like for this hash value is 55. So by using these hash values, for example, it goes like 0 to 20, it goes to no 1. And next 21 to 40, it goes to node 2. Next 41 to 60, it goes to node 3. Same like a 61 to 80, it goes to node 4. So whenever you got the partition hash value 43, so the record go and resets into node 3. Here it can go to and resets 43. So like the way it follows the partitioning in Cassandra.
What about if I get 80?
80?
Yeah.
Just we are
I'll
considering
just
example.
consider example only.
Example correct only, but it should
Yeah,
be one node should be going here. it
No,
will-
in the 4 node, right?
In
Then
4
you
node,
just- then we'll make it 0 to 25, 26 to 50.
It's an example only given like this.
Like that. Yes, given
No,
the.
roughly you said that, okay, but my question here is,
No,
my question here is, what happens if you get a 81? So some node should be there.
no, like when you must
It
write
should
it,
not
right? Like,
specify the range for every node. There should be some node which is taking the additional data, right?
no,
you configure that?
no, like when you are given, right, like 0 to 21, 21 to 40, right? If it is a 4 node, right, by default, you take an example 0 to 25, 26 to 50, 51 to 75, 75 to 100, 76 to 100 that way. So based upon number of nodes that
The partition has divided based on the number of nodes and
nodes, like he hasn't wrote it properly, but in the system, right, the 4 nodes actually I said right, it goes up that way, that fashion.
The thing is, by using this primary key only, it has generated the. Yeah. But it is an example wise. I just
Yeah,
said
you
like.
could have written 0 to 25. 0 to 25, 25.
If 0 to 100.
Okay, again, re-evaluate all those things. Data what is it?
That is dynamic, automatically system takes care of those things.
Hash codes that is a dynamically creates no.
Hash algorithm will generate the hash codes dynamically.
So that can insert the data while by using that hash code. So this is how the data is partitioned in Cassandra. And next, if you want to insert the data, the same like same syntax, insert into table name, and these are the column family column values, and these are the version values. So by using this insert operation. The data inserted here. So if you want to
No error means none. In Oracle, right, inserted, nothing. No error means it's done.
and next you can use the select queries same like a SQL only.
It's a NoSQL database, right? Why are running SQL?
It follows the SQL queries only. It's NoSQL in the sense not only SQL.
Correct, right? How do I retrieve a flat file then? Why people are writing the SQL and claiming as NoSQL data? They're writing a SQL query, right?
No,
If I don't know the structured query language.
He's talking behind the scenes. The database data is stored is different.
The thing
Data is
is,
stored in SQL is different, NoSQL is different. You have to store the documents in a SQL.
But syntax is same as SQL only. He's saying about the syntaxes is also same like a SQL only.
Then okay, making it in user understandable. Like when I create a key space, right, there are different ways to create. So if I create a key space with different fashion, then you not to create like our create table, column name. There are different ways. So, but he is giving it in a conventional example like our one. Like so, we have different conventions to create. So if I create a key space with that one, if I execute this one, this create table will not work. So for simple human understandable things we are created with that kind of a thing.
For demo purpose like something.
Can you do this same query?
Same. JSON also. I mean, if you load the table, if you load the data into table.
No, what I've seen is like insert query.
Mm-hmm.
It is like just like a data.
Like-
What you created is a table.
Yes.
Can you create
Through
like
application.
Yeah, document. I shown you tools are there now here.
NOC4j, those are the different API, right? Through that API, I believe.
Yeah, API and not only API. Here in Cassandra we have some tools. SS table to JSON, JSON to SS table. I'll show you the code also, like how it will be. I tried one time.
then SQL queries will change. The question is,
then that is not like a SQL query. Yeah, you have to write a comment like this. You have a file already with you, that JSON format file with you, and you can write a query like this. This is table full path and something like. I mean, I didn't practice it this one, but I've seen somewhere like we have to do like this. The JSON utility, by using these tools, we can do that.
can you scroll down? So if you want to access the things, so you have to access the data. How do you access? Like, we do XPath queries if you have a document.
Actually, you have a file JSON file with you. You have to give the path to that file. I mean, this command.
Yeah, path. I give the path to that file. Okay. But I want to query that. I have a number of data, right?
This is for loading the data. Once you load that data into that thing, that insert we can done this way. That insert format we cannot not.
Query how to.
Same like once the data is stored into the tables, we can same like a select query we can write it.
Works on this.
Actually, I didn't work on that, but I know that something like.
Because JSON also internally is structured, you cannot enter. Right? We have key value pairs in JSON.
Different one, right? I can put table underscore table and table.
Yeah, yes.
So should I write like just a join or different? Okay.
No, like once the table load, I mean the JSON format table loaded into the Cassandra table. I mean JSON format that file we have in the data into the file. Once we load the data into this table, then we can write a query like a select query and what we can have.
JSON will have the nested data.
Document, right? Nested tables. Okay.
That we have to see. So by using these queries, we can retrieve the data and insert the data. That's it actually.
When you do the insert, it is required to mention all the columns.
I mean, this is the manual way actually. No one do like this actually. We have an application.
But not mandatory to. Like in Oracle,
Like,
right, we have inserting a record.
We have to
So we insert all the column values, right? For example, if it's a null value, not null column, right? You need to have it. But here, right, it's not mandatory to have all the fields are populated.
Here, inserting into the temperature, he is mentioning the column name, what weather station event is, weather station ID, event time, temperature.
this is the column name.
In Oracle, if I am going to insert, I can insert into temperature values. Yes. And pass value.
At that moment, you need to pass all the columns.
Yes.
Here he is specifying.
It's a manual way, so that's what it is. Normally, we have an application to insert the data and something.
Here,
Prepare statement columns.
When you have a one record with the one column value. Data
is same like a text and so not like a SQL exactly. Timestamp is also here. Timestamp. So then same. Text and ID, timestamp and all.
By default, how it comes to know that what is the latest right for any operations happens. So automatically by default it adds that timestamp. So when you are retrieving the data on the time, it refers that what is the latest task. This upon that task. Okay. It identifies that it's the latest task of the operation. For any operations, for any update, insert, whatever, it's not something like commit or value. So if you keep on updating or inserting, it will be one more kind of more stable. So at the end of the day, we do a compaction.
If I want to delete a record from this table, temperature,
You can delete. Yes.
Yeah, I think there are some update, delete.
Delete also there.
So to say, it will go and
For key space, if you create and alter drop key space also there.
It's just like an accord, right? It's just like a minus of that row. And then when I fetch it, that row is deleted or truncated while displaying. But the entry is there in the table.
Yes. It is the table the row is not deleted. It is deleted.
It's separated with minus. It says this particular row is deleted and part is deleted.
It deleted locally, but after compaction happens at the time that row is
So then there will be a lot of fragmentation happens on the file, right?
Then here we not say that we have multiple versions of the data. So at any point in time, your database, right, data directory, especially data directory, during business it may be 100 GB, but end of the day it may come to 10 GB.
That's correct, sir. 100 GB, the data was loaded, and after that compaction, it came to 10
GB.
The 90 gig of fragmentation which happened on the table or on that flat file. So when it writes, once again, when it starts the next day operation, right, it starts writing on 101 gig.
No, it's not. So during after compaction happens,
Defragmentation also happens.
defragmented. It's like this.
That's the beauty. Only
It's like this.
read fast and load fast.
Right fast. Correct. So here, for Cassandra or Mongo or anything, right? Like you want to store your movies or photos or other photo in your mobile, right? So sometime we have, if we have a mobile with say 64 GB, or if you have now whatever Apple, right? Okay. S7 is coming, right? There where they have in terms of terabytes of memory also coming. Okay. Spaces, lot of memory. So this. So those kind of things. So we store it, but end of the day, in India we buy a mobile. So I have a today Airtel. Tomorrow I may switch to Vodafone. Right, on that time we manually copy the data, right? To as externally, then you try to copy the rest another.
We have cloud, right?
So they think it up, okay. So they play it everything. On that time they have to store the data. Where do they store? They cannot store this kind of a data in relation database. When you are playing it, right, we cannot play. On that time, it has to go for data indexing, etc. So that time, everything, right, that kind of data directly plus it means put into this kind of database. And retrieval is very fast. So these databases are not only terabytes, in petabytes only. Because you dump it anything, even movies, your photos, even flat files, you dump it anything, you load it like normal one. When reading also, retrieving also, it doesn't need to go for any normalization. The moment you store the data, it is sorted and ordered. So when you are querying anything, you don't have to give any like order by or sort by. Everything is sorted. When you are retrieving, right, so it goes in the sorted data, so retrieval also very fast.
Every NoSQL follows like that. I mean, once you store the data, it will automatically sort it. Every NoSQL, in HBase, Hadoop, Mongo also, key value. I mean, that's a document file, but once you insert the data, it will be stored like a key and value only.
Can you go to demo folder?
Remove.
At the end of the day, compression is looking at time. So readers starting.
So those are the records, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 records.
No, these are the column families.
Can't you able to see the physical data? No, right?
The database files are there.
You cannot see the data.
I just want to see the security.
But
Not security, even in Oracle database also you cannot see. You can see the data file. Yeah. But you cannot go and see what's there inside the data.
yeah, these DB files only there. These are the database files.
For backup also, so
Snapshots.
it takes a snapshot in this kind of open what the snapshot. So here we want to go for any.
So topology can be anything except hierarchical, anything. You can specify what is the specific to be in data.
Like it differ from the use case to use case. You look at what is equal to
Topology. But you have mentioned that in the structure topology.
Ring topology.
It doesn't support other topologies.
But by default, it supports ring topology, but I don't know whether it support or not.
So you said that in computational convention topology, there class.
I think keep this.
Keyspace, right?
That's a simple strategy and in network topology.
Network topology, right?
Network
So you
topology.
can specify whatever you want, you can specify.
Simple strategy is only for
One node. If you have a multiple nodes, then it will be network
So
topology.
I can specify class topology. I'm saying.
there is no.
So only circular is supported. If you have n number of nodes, what is the value you put there?
Like it depends upon, like I said, right, multiple data centers.
Okay.
Then you go for network.
Asking, you said simple topology.
Simple strategy.
Simple strategy.
Yeah. Keys.
How many keys you can use in that? What are the other things you can do there?
That is for storing the data strategy. Simple strategy. Simple
Other
strategy.
is duplication factor.
No, this is the strategy name is a simple strategy.
Another is this is simple strategy.
What are the things you can do there?
Those two only, simple strategy and network topology. The network topology for multi-node, simple strategy for single node.
So they here are specify network topology doesn't do any it doesn't make any sense for you.
Yeah, here if I mention network topology also, it will work.
Cassandra will take a decision which topology should have in, or can we make a decision?
We need to decide. For example, I have a multi-DC, so I definitely need to go for the network topology. Otherwise, we cannot put one more copy, replica copy on another network.
And that's same thing like JSON 2 as a stable 2 like a stress tool also there. Stress test. I mean, this data model is fit for our data. I mean, that is also one useful of this Cassandra. And Cassandra mainly fits for a time series data. When you have a time series data, you can use the Cassandra for best model. Here, this guy explains. I mean, the primary key we can create as a. This is simple compound key. We can call it. Another way also there. Here, event time also he mentioned. This is clustering key. The primary key total contains. This is composite key we can call. This is the partitioning key. By using these two, a partition is generated, and this event time by clustering. So the data models explains like this here, and we can cluster event time as a descending order also. By default, it is the ascending order, and we can create it as descending order also. Huh?
How we use reverse index.
Yeah, that's the next slide.
So then,
Thanks. హ్యాపీ హ్యాపీ మళ్ళీ పోస్ట్ పోన్లు ఇవన్నీ తలనొప్పి
నేను కాల్ కట్ చేయాలా
కట్ చేయకూడదు హేమాలి